Okay, problem number 7. This one, I think you were just getting stressed out by now, but this one just goes back to what we were learning in class last year. It's the product rule. That's all we need to think about. So the derivative is going to be, what I need to know is the product rule. And with the product rule, we know that it's 1 d2 plus 2 d1. So what we want to look at is distinguishing what is 1, what is 2, and then what is the derivative of them. And I don't know if you want to do each one of these separately, but the first set of parentheses, that w to the 6 plus 3, that's going to be my 1. And then I will look at 2 as being, sorry, keep flipping around here. 2 is going to be the second factor, which is sine w all raised to the 5th power, which they show is sine to the 5th w. So we look at those separately. If you want to look at those separately, then we could say, well, if 1 is w to the 6 plus 3, then what is the derivative of that? The derivative, oh, got to change my color here, sorry. The derivative of that is pretty simple because that's just a power rule involved. So d1 is going to have that value of 6w to the 5th, and then the derivative of 3 being a constant is just 0. So then we have our 2 value, and our 2 value is the sine of w all raised to the 5th power. So it'd be like sine w times sine w times sine w times sine w times sine w. So we want to know what is the derivative of that. So what is the derivative of d2? Now, in order to solve the derivative of sine of that second factor, sine w to the 5th power, what we have to think of is that as sine w raised to the 5th power. And if I write it in that format, then I'm thinking about my derivative here. That's the same thing as u to the 5th power, where u is equal to sine w. So if I were to take the derivative of u to the 5th, that's going to be 5u to the 4th du. Well, what is the derivative of u? The derivative of sine to the w power is just the cosine of w. I gotta extend this. So if I look at d2, still working with the derivative of that second factor, it's going to be 5u. Well, u is sine w, and I'm going to raise that to the 4th, and then du is the cosine of w. So the way that they are going to write d2 is going to be 5, the sine, and they're going to put the 4 right after the sine as a power, and then you're going to have the cosine of w. Now, whether they put that sine in parentheses or not, I don't know. I mean, that's up to how your professor is working with you with that. Probably not. I'm guessing they don't, but they would put the w in parentheses. So now we're going to come back up here. Maybe I need to make that a little bit smaller so we could possibly see that. Let me just try doing, I can't go down that far. Sorry, Caitlin. Okay, so let me just try to minimize this. I'm going to group it all together, hopefully get this done correctly. There we go. Now I can shorten all this so that maybe it can be within our viewing of what we have up here. Sorry if it gets too small. Hopefully you can still see it on the screen. Maybe I can shorten this all up a little bit here too. Let me make this all a little bit smaller for you. Okay, so if I keep that there, hopefully you can see that. Right, now what we're going to do is I want to just go ahead and do the product rule. So what we want to do is I want to think about this product rule right here and go ahead and take the derivative of my original problem. So as I take that derivative of the original problem, we're going to go through and just do that 1d2 plus 2d1. So 1 happens to be w to the 6 plus 3. Now we want d2. d2 we found off to the side, which is clear down over here, off to the bottom of the right-hand side there. And d2 is going to be 5 times sine raised to the 4th of the w value. And then we have to take that times the cosine of w. I'm not quite for sure how many sets of parentheses they are going to want you to put in there, but it's 5 times the sine of w all raised to the 4th power times that derivative of what we were calling u, which ends up being the cosine of w. Once again, I'm going to run out of room. So let me try grouping and sliding and moving some of this around for you. Let's move it down and over here a little bit. I'll try scrunching in the rest, and then we can see where we go with it and then maybe minimize it. So the next thing that we have the 1 is in red. So 1 is in red, d2 is in green, plus now I have 2, and 2 is sine w all raised to the 5th power, so sine to the 5th power w. And then we have d1, and d1 we found, which is just that simple power rule that we have, and that's going to be 6w to the 5th power. So the full derivative that they are looking for is the red, green, blue, purple combo that I am highlighting right now. And well, I'm not highlighting, but grouping together. So here is that particular derivative. Now, once again, I'm not quite for sure how your college professor, he may want the 6w to the 5th moved in front of the sine w all raised to the 5th power, however that's stated. But what is circled is your values. You can rearrange the factors, and that will give you the correct derivative. Again, I still believe in you. I know you have this, and I know you can do this. So I'm going to go ahead and post this one so you can view it.